Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Leader's Edge. My name is Baylan Megino, and I am the founder of Global Dream Makers. The Leader's Edge, here we are at the beginning of 2023, and we're at the edge. We are at the precipice of a whole new time, a whole new era, and a whole new way of showing up. And that's why I have my guest here today. Jan Jorgensen is someone I have known about for years because of the beautiful work that she does all around voice. And it has developed beautifully, and I want to find out what do we have now? What do we have now that she's bringing? So welcome, Jan.
Thank you, Baylan. So great to be here. And thank you for this platform. Thank you for the global planetary work. Thank you for being on the team and doing it so enthusiastically.
Well, it's fun. It's an exciting time. Let me tell them a bit about you before we get started, okay?
Sure.
Okay. So Jan Jorgensen, RN, MA, PHN, CMP, and Reverend, has connected the dots for vibration, consciousness, intention, and our upcoming needed co-creations to activate the divine plan. Studying the importance of our voices, she developed voice release and lectures, provides workshops and intentional creativity sessions to remind people of their innate power and divinity to speak with truth and shift reality. She taught at the Sound and Consciousness Institute and is a frequent speaker at Unity and New Thought educational centers. Her PhD dissertation is in process and is focused on the voice release process she has created. A recording artist, author, TV and radio host, Jen is currently on tour to activate light in circles in community. So exciting, so exciting. So tell us about your tour, Jan.
Well, the tour is very interesting. Sometimes things happen in our lives and we're like, oh no, not this. But I moved to Pacific Northwest and it's so beautiful and I love it here. The people are wonderful. But I noticed I wasn't feeling very well. And I noticed my hair was falling out, and slowly but surely, it's the mold and the fungus. We live in a little mini rainforest. And so Spirit said, well, why don't you go on the road? I'm like, what? Go on the road. And I've had this dream, this love. Hold on a second. This obsession with getting a little red Vardo wagon. So I don't know. I think in another lifetime, I must have been a musical gypsy and traveled around and we danced and sang. And I am a minister. And I said, maybe I'm a minstrel minister. And the thought of going and sitting with women in community in circles and painting out their feelings and expressing their desire for more empowerment and to find their voice and to sing and move and to bring more feminine into the fabric of everything. And then I said, well, I'll do voice release too, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And then the third thing is meditation and sound journeys for people who, just want to do that. So I took off and I started in Bozeman, Montana, where I spent my happiest summers with my beloved cousin. I took my sister as a fiddler and she plays second place in the Gallatin fiddling, which, come on, it's Bozeman, Montana. That means a lot. Second place in the championship. And I just went to drier climates. And I went to Jackson Hole, which I loved. I worked in Yellowstone Park. And I really felt like, even though I was in my blue Subaru, I pretended that I was in this stage of bringing something new and exciting. And so I proposed that I do a painting class with my dear friend, my dear cousin, who was a teacher and has lots of friends. And I think they were kind of blown away of like, whoa, we've never painted like this. Painting that shifts the vibration because I add in a meditation. And the theme is, what do you want to see moving forward? That's the theme for 2023. So then I went to Moab, Utah, and there's a fabulous, hearth space. And I work with voice release with men and women, all different ages. And our hearts just connected, and they welcome me back anytime. And I slowly but surely started feeling better and stronger. Went to Colorado. So I had the best trip in the world, and I came home and I realized I love to travel. I love to spread the light. So tour 2, or get the name, the Queen's Caravan Spiritual Walkabout Tour. Is that perfect or what? Okay, so I'm trying to manifest a wagon. Hey, if anybody's listening to this, there's a wagon builder, and he's making a little red wagon. My fingers are crossed, just a little bit more manifestation. And some days I feel really close. Other days I think, oh my God, how am I going to afford this? But I know I'll have my red wagon. So tour 2 is a little bit different. I'm going down the California coast. Now, we know as light workers, we go where our own vibrational field is invited. And we know by the way we feel when we think about it. So I'm going to Mount Shasta, tried and true sacred satellite point for divine light on the planet. I have connections there. And it's fine if people come or don't come, because I will be there doing voice release and energy with those who have a resonance to come at Soul Connections. So then I'm going to Sausalito on January 15th. I got a big tribe there. I'm so looking forward to it. And then Sedona, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. So I excite myself just talking about this. I created it. Now, in between, I'm weaving and meeting with other like-minded souls. 2023 is about coming out of isolation, joining our resonant kindred souls who, let's face it, we're visitors here. We have very unusual toolkits of intuition when we really use our intentional consciousness. Miracles are ordinary. I actually had a show called Ordinary Miracles for a while with a dear friend. But sometimes I forget that if I'm just here, Pacific Northwest, having salmon and living the good life, I forget how much I love to teach about vibration and co-creating. And so this has given me an opportunity to rekindle relationships, make new relationships. In each person I meet, there is an instantaneous frequency remembrance. Sometimes they say, I've heard your voice before. Some say we were in a dream together last night. Some say I've waited forever to hear your voice. So it is a frequency match, and we're forming in these tribes and containers, similar to what you're doing with your leadership. We're forming containers of coherent intentionality. And from this will be born visualization, ideation of new potentials and new structures that we will actually begin to create, just the way we created this reality, dreamers and visionaries who sometimes are unsung until after they die. Who cares? Every day I get up and say, how can I further the divine plan? So it's hard because humans know they have to change to institute, activate a divine plan, and they can't see it. So all last year, you can't see it, you can't believe it till you see it. Well, that's actually the masculine talking, because the feminine believe it and see it inside. So once we can trust that we can go access at the 0 point and go into future locales and see what can be created. You make an intention. What's the highest degree of humanity, benevolent systems? Show me the potentials. And then you just go in the future, you access that information. So I ran circles all year, quantum future envisioning circles, so that I myself could get confidence of the potentiality for some of these things to come true. Because there's a reason that we are polishing all of our manifesting skills, and it's to create. So it goes together. You have to have a thought or a feeling of there's something to create. Otherwise, you won't polish your toolkit. You won't get in shape if there's no race to run. So the tours have kind of galvanized me to begin to really get on the horse, get on the bus, polish up my messaging. And again, it's not the words I use, it's frequencies. Just like I said, oh, Baylan, she will want to know about my new era mentoring program. Now that's different. That's internet based, and I can work with anybody, anywhere. And I meet you exactly the state you are at. However, not everyone is my client. People come to me when they've done so much work and they say, oh my God, I feel like is there more work? And I'm telling you, you are good enough. You are good enough. We're just going to polish off the last facetry so that you can reflect. The fact that you're saying, am I healed enough, is actually a key that you're so close. I mean, your ego, you surrendered your ego. So the new era mentoring program is a refurbish, used to be called Be the Light, Mastering Intention. But I am working with leaders just like you so that they can position themselves confidently on their platform, doing what they're good at, and not having frequencies in their voice of their old story, which actually, that's my specialty. If you're in your old story, it actually makes a certain pattern in your vocal pattern that attracts other people who will launch on and poke, humiliate you, and be codependent based on your vibratory vocal profile. Your vibratory vocal profile is not just, again, your words and your voice. When you speak, you are vibrating your entire body. Your body has beliefs. Your body has assumptions, sadnesses. So we think we can fool everybody with fancy words, but they're actually feeling and getting everything about our energy field. So I said, well, okay, that's the good news and the bad news. How can we plunge out the self-defeating attitudes, the resonance that attracts males who dominate and control, the resonance that says I'm not lovable? All of these things are vibrational. They're vibrational forms and quagmires that you're holding in your body and you're sending out with your voice all the time. So you can't fool anybody, and you're recreating based on your voice. So I prayed and prayed, Spirit, how can I get down to that person's historical movie and get rid of those sections or melt them or shift the vibration and the constant triggers and going back to that? So it is a simple toning process using a focused consciousness where I kind of merge with the person. They're talking about their issue. It's up, it's vibrating, and I have them sound it out. It's cathartic. It is so powerful that I said, I want the scientific academic community to notice that understanding quantum field, intention, all the different realms now of vibrational frequency manipulation. And I said, well, can we remove fear from this speaking voice? And the answer is yes. And that's voice release. So we were talking before we turn the camera on. The most important thing for the team, people who are getting that I'm a visitor here, I have this toolkit. However, when I speak, the real decision makers aren't taking me seriously. They are not giving me the positions of power, and therefore it's a dance back and forth. Am I really a leader? Do I have some power? Why isn't it working? Well, essentially, you're working with an old paradigm, and there is pushback with truth and light. There is pushback. But the more refined and more attuned and the more worried everybody gets as things fall apart, as they are getting fall apart, what is everybody looking for? A voice of coherency, of sacred love, no matter what, unconditional love, not afraid to drop those truth bombs so everybody can go, finally, now we have a starting place. The dance of manipulation, control, and shaming is over. So that's what voice release does. It gives the emerging kind of self-questioning, forming leaders a chance to remove fear from their voice and kind of beta test it on of what happens if you show up and you mindfully drop the words of spirit from a vehicle, a vessel that is fear-free. Everybody says, I want what that woman is drinking. Okay? And I want to be like that. I want to be that light. I want to be that frequency. And that higher frequency through physics naturally has a natural pure domination. A natural pure domination, not power over, but power with. So for my path, it's been made very clear. I mean, once I really focus and I work with the vibration, my simple little 3-point be the light process, sure, I can move this reality. We can make a bowel stop going into IBS. We can shift cancer out of a field. But Spirit says, teach everybody to do this, because in the old days, if someone knew they had those gifts and used them, they put them on a pedestal and they kick them off or kill them. Okay? The fact is, anybody can do anything with these divine tools. So the New Era coaching program, I'm teaching you with benevolent, service-oriented attitudes to be able to remanipulate and recreate this reality from a higher picture. So I'll stop talking. Any questions?
I love it. Well, okay. All right. There is so much in there. So much in there. And yet you are showing us how simple, how beautifully simple life can be and life is, and how life is created and how we create.
Yes.
It's simple. It's
Yes.
simple. It doesn't have to be some big, huge, complex thing, which is, I think, what we had just before COVID. It's like we had made life so complicated and so, how many different ways can you do a particular thing? And now we've brought it back down to what are the essentials? What are the basics that we want to bring forward? And one of the essential things, vibration is the word, it's sound, and then there was light, right?
That's it.
That's it.
It forms, it sculpts reality. Now, there are principles to follow on the spiritual path, and all of those have a distinct vibration. For instance, to become an ascended master, it's not words. The words are infused with the light, but first you must go through the process to take on greater and greater light by mastering 7 simple principles. And here they are, if I can remember them: truth, beauty, love, goodness, omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence. 7 principles for humans to master. Any Christed person, Christ, Buddha, all of them mastered. And there are 10 distinct steps. And this is in no book. It is through dropping in, stilling your mind, and using your consciousness and your God-given GPS system, which, believe me, for most people has a blanket over it. You don't even know it's there. We have this unbelievable GPS system within our soul, our consciousness, the 0 point, which we can drive. We can drive without a map. We just ask and intend. And when you said it's simple, everything I do starts with those words. You ask because the universe listens and responds, and you intend. So that's when these miracles come. They're really not miracles at all. They're just, again, re-articulating reality. So I developed with a great spiritual teacher, Caroline Corey. I worked with her for 15 years. And so that now I have fashioned my tools. I have this simple process, very simple. Be the light, 3-step process. And anybody can do it. In fact, I'm sure people listening to this are saying, well, don't keep it a secret. It's no secret. Okay. First, you take a deep breath through the nose and out through the mouth. And you simply say, I ask and intend to set a sacred space. That means I am placing myself in like a mini church, geometric structure, Merkaba, you pick the title. I am placing myself in my space, separate from everything else, so that I am not informing my life and choices from this dissolving, decaying external world. In this sacred space, I remove everyone else's cords, thoughts of me, opinions, and agendas. I remove my own thoughts, assumptions, and agendas about myself, because they're all based on the past and other people. In this moment, I am choosing to be free. I allow my mind to still. I open my heart, this moving facetry that can reflect highest truth. Talk to divine masters, travel. Everything is connected to this GPS 0 point within your heart. And so I've taught people for years, is there something you want to get rid of? Jealousy, scarcity, that's a vibration. Feel it and feel all the ways it has been like a spider web in your body, and breathe into it. We ask and intend to remove the fear of lack of resources from our heart, ourselves. And so I hear the words from spirit of where that person has parked that vibration, which again comes out in their voice, and it invites more scarcity in by it. Oh, you don't believe in scarcity? We'll all show you. There you go. So that our voices are calling card for the world, and it attracts in exactly what we're vibrating. Okay, so the 3-point be the light process I use for everything and anything. Okay, say you want more peace. I ask and intend to bring in the vibration of peace. Now that's pretty broad. Or you could just say a peaceful feeling for my physical body to be at rest now. And allow it and believe it. Some of the more miracle healings that I've facilitated or been part of, essentially I just created the field and this person bought into it and shifted their reality. And the one who actually stepped out of metastatic cancer stood up radiant. I said, how do you feel? She said, perfect. And I said, can you hold that thought and no other thought? And she did. And of course, the doctor at Stanford said, unrecognizable, full reversal of blah, blah, blah. And she chose not to live in that reality anymore in her body. So all of this is within our realm. Weather changes. You see, we practice, we get our muscle and we say, do these tools really work? So my grandson was coming from New York, and that was the year all the smoke was coming from California and Oregon, thick blanket of smoke. I said, I don't want my 4-year-old grandson to breathe this. So I said, okay. I had a friend. Usually I work with a friend because it's so much more powerful. We choose a night and we said, we're going to move the smoke out of the town of Olympia, where we'll be visiting. So I asked my partner, he's sometimes disbeliever. I said, would you please monitor the smoke map for Olympia? Oh, sure, I will. Anyway, we're meditating. We ask and intend that the smoke begin to dissipate over the city of Olympia. We ask and intent. We prayed every day. It's prayer. Prayer works. Intentional focus. So my partner the first day says, I don't believe it, but just over Olympia, it's gone from red to orange. The next day, I don't believe it, but now it's yellow. By the fourth day, the air was completely clear only over Olympia and stayed there for the full 6.5 days while my grandson was here. And then the last day, I said, oh no, the smoke's coming back. But the next morning, off they went. So this reality is malleable. It is. It was formed by builders, contractors, people building driverless cars and spaceships. But we are working for a different order, not for profit, but for goodness, for truth, beauty, goodness, and love, omniscience, omnipotence, and the other one, to come back to earth. And not everybody is going to go into this new frequency band, a parallel reality. In fact, you have to keep your vibration high. And so the new era coaching is geared towards your physical body, vibrating, all of your habits and choices. And secondly, connecting with spirit, the GPS connecting. Thirdly, relationships. Where's your tribe? And fourth, your mission and your purpose. So the other night, I was in Seattle on the New Year's overnight, and there's all these tall business buildings, and I'm sitting there and I'm meditating. It was very interesting in such a congested place. And Spirit said, you're going to open a clubhouse room. And I'm like, what? Yes, and you're going to answer questions about vibration, because essentially, Jan, you don't know it, but when people ask you, the information becomes available and people are now ready to hear what you have to say. So I'm like, oh, do I have to invite people? Do I have to learn the tech? So far,
just tell people, and we'll let others know.
I have 3 people in the room. Okay, this is the name of the clubhouse. Lighten up your vibration, 2023, and I'll give you the link. Okay, lighten up your vibration. So again, I'm showing up. I'm getting on the horse. I'm getting on the bus, and doing my best. And every time I do, I feel good. But every time I do something with someone else where it's for money or to coerce or something in the old paradigm, it hurts more than ever. My whole body just has a pushback and I feel nauseated. So that's my own GPS system saying this is not yours to do. This is your old Jan on automatic. So we're doing this together, and I see you're shaking your head as I say things. And before we started the conference, I love the leadership work you're doing, bringing in more femininity to it. My friend Donnelly Gastrich just wrote this book, Bringing Spirituality into Business. We're doing it. We are doing it. I started a sister summit this last year. It's an inner circle of women who have mastery over their areas. And I had a 2-day retreat. And at the end, one of the more famous on Gaia TV ladies said, hey, we could go run conventions for women to learn with us what we know. And I'm like, yes. So I'm moving into, and I'll invite you, Baylan, starting a newsletter called One Voice. In other words, you speak my language. When you said prepatus to change, I use that word weekly. It's like we're all from the same design now, with many voices split up, the consciousness split up and sprinkled around, so we can't fail. No one's going to put us on a cross and kill us this time around. So she said, well, why don't you do conventions? So I called it Sister Summit, active women out doing what they do well, coming together occasionally. But this newsletter will give us a chance. I'll interview, just like you're interviewing me, I'll interview women, and we'll post what they're doing. And even if people don't read the newsletter, the frequency work that we are doing is brightening and polishing the container so the divine plan the cities of light, this parallel reality that we're co-creating, can actually begin to gel more powerfully. Your turn.
My turn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, my job is to ask questions. So the question I'm going to ask is, let's step back a bit. Okay. Explain a little bit about voice release, specifically about voice release, or was that part of what you already did? Was that the Be the Light?
Let's talk about voice release. I use the Be the Light process to get the person in a kind of a softened state and remove everything so they can actually safely go in and feel the time that their father yelled and said, girls are only to be pretty and not talk. Or one client, a grandfather, if she said something he didn't like, you put soap on her tongue. Children should be seen and not heard. There is a vibration and a memory. So I'll talk to that person in everyday language conversation, and they will feel that vibration, and it's a discomfort. And that comfort comes out unconsciously in their life and helps them make choices to avoid that discomfort. Okay? What does that get you? Avoiding life. You're not free. You're a prisoner to that old quagmire. So I bring that quagmire up. It's in that person's feeling world. And then I put them into a light trance, the stage where change can happen, to be the light process. Take a deep breath through your nose, out through your mouth. We ask and intend to set a sacred space. We feel into the feelings of dissociation, if it was abuse. We feel into that, and we know that we are safe in our bodies in this moment. We are feeling into it and taking a breath. And then I ask them to actually sound what that feeling was. And usually I hear the sound of a 3 or a 5-year-old. Ah! Now, as they emit that sound, it has a living vibrational quality of pain, of betrayal, mistrust. And so I come in with my voice. This is their voice. I come with my voice, and I don't sing the perfect harmonic that they will, and I sing with their pain. I match it, I phase shift it. They have had, for the first time in their life, someone touch the untouchable, the thing that they protected and avoided. And I do it with such love, and I sing into it and drench it so that it can dissolve. That insulation that had all those trigger points that kept repeating its story of avoiding that pain dissolves. Now, the amazing thing, I've done this in women's entrepreneurial groups when they don't have the spiritual backgrounds. I've done it with housewives. I've done it with everybody, and the same outcomes. It always works. And I'll use different language. I'll just say, let's just tone into that time and tone it and act as if it's coming out, it's purging. And at the moment, it's like where the hammer hits the nail, that vibration goes in, everyone in the room goes, oh, and releases it with that person through sympathetic entrainment. Everybody who, for instance, had a real suffocating mother, everybody in that vicinity gets that note shifted in their body at the same time. So it's so powerful, one-on-one or big groups. I've done it with Saharna Falls entrepreneurial groups. I've done it everywhere. And that's what I'm taking out in these circles. And frankly, it's what I'd love to do with some of the hard-ass authoritarian leaders who are holding the reins of leadership, who are actually tired of themselves and know that we're not getting anywhere. And so as time goes on, I am getting, the mist is coming in of the essence of invitations of people who are in the commercial world and corporate, all different things. And through association, I'm meeting very powerful people and inviting them to come and to talk about their issues and to do a voice bio and a portical. So I used two. This was my training wheels. This is how I learned about vocal frequencies and patterns. The voice bio, in 5 minutes, I can tell you about your health and your emotions. Everything is visible through the frequency patterns in your voice plotted onto a scale. Are your adrenals low? Are you in the computer too much? What is the body decompromising from too much of this? And because everything's vibration, I do a little sleuth, mystery and solving. Usually it's pretty easy. Too much sugar, too much computer, too much anger, too much fear. And so if you have high fear, you have high F sharp. And you've got this high F sharp. It's like music in your voice. And you'll attract a partner who exhausted their nervous system years ago. This is a narcissistic partner. Hello, little girl. I'd love to have some of your F sharp. I can soak up your energy and I can help my nervous system. And so you feel calmer, but you don't see that you're in a codependent dance. They hear it right in your voice. So I do the voice bio. Abused women have a particular pattern. Autism. I saw schizophrenic. He had two complete different solo body lines right next to each other. Two operational systems. He didn't know it. I didn't tell him. I just work with what I'm there to do. So that's the voice bio. Used it for years with client sessions, and then I used it at fairs and conventions and things. However, I slowly am turning towards, I want to work with the intelligent leaders who are almost fully awake, okay? I don't have time to talk to people about their dramatic partner or addiction or suicidal ideation. No. I really am working with awakened leaders because we're more powerful together. Actually, you may have noticed this for yourself. People can only see me at my vibration, at the vibration they are vibrating at. So what percent of the population is that if I've worked hard and I'm holding my vibration? We actually tick a lot of people off when we're holding a high vibration because the truth sometimes hurts and it's not welcome or, friendly for other people's story. So the voice bio, I worked with it for maybe 15 years and it showed me everything about the voice. Great. Then Don Estes, who I just interviewed, created an interactive consciousness program based on the frequencies of your voice. And he feels your consciousness is represented by your voice. So here, these concentric circles, I can tell a person by the patterning, the colors, and the movement, their feelings and sense of self, of their intimate inner circle community, as well as the outer world. A very coherent, organized consciousness is patterned, geometric patterns. And a person who's addicted or just is mushy. Now, someone like Michael Beckwith, in the middle of his portical pattern, Don Estes told me, the creator of the program, there is an opening of pure light. And that means his consciousness is free. He's not grasping on to push his reality, and it's open like that. And so that's what I'm working with. I worked 6 months in Marin with Veronica Bach, and I was her facilitator, helping people work with the portical to reorient. It's interactive and it mitigates your actual unconscious vibrational things that are coming up that don't match the words you're saying. This is it. The quantum energy field, not experiments, but the new breakthroughs in technology. It's quite amazing. So there's no question anymore. My son is an attorney for a project of a voice detection for depression. Of course, the voice bio does have parameters to show me that, but it's different aspects. And so all of this this technology can move forward for a new way of tuning up and keeping the body attuned. And the divine plan has parameters and organizational structures. And for instance, the San Francisco Bay Area is slated to be the Mecca, the light informational system for vibrational technologies for health and wellness, as well as theatrical arts, and moving the envelope for vibrational technologies and understanding the human condition and what can be created. That's the San Francisco Bay Area. Different.
That's exciting. That's exciting. That's where I am. Yeah.
Yeah, because you live near there, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I am here in the Bay Area. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Really, really briefly, the feminine, bringing the feminine back onto the planet, or expanding the feminine on the planet, making this, we are in this place of shift, the transformation where we're going from the what some call the toxic masculine, but I would just say it's completely out of balance masculine, and balance, bringing more harmony with the feminine. So, what do you say for leaders about that?
Well, again, the answer is always for the choices, decision making, and next steps on your heart. And that is a feminine activity. And you will receive the non-logical, the one that I don't know how many times people tell me that doesn't make sense, or that's not a good investment. No, feeling into it, and once you feel, you enter the what I call the collaborative, co-creative, that community centered, and that's feminine versus pyramid, top down, catching the deer. I get to take all the meat home, and I'll let the helpers eat rice. It's the old way. The feminine way is every mother is my mother. Every child is essentially my child, and there's enough for all of us. And let's disseminate all resources in sustainable ways that help us all grow and glow. And
Mhm.
that's not the way it's been. It totally has been out of balance. However, the divine plan dispense visitors on earth in human bodies like us, who our compass is only is pretty much feminine. And we allow the masculine. You are very good at tech and presenting things in the way that the world, can receive them. But we allow the masculine to be our help mate. But we drive the
Mhm.
energy for what is to be created, because it's coming from our hearts and intuition. And this is a very difficult shift for most males, to think that they're giving us the reins. In fact, the masculine needs to understand it's the support team. I wrote a book, Guy's Guide to the Divine Feminine, because so many women were just leaving their partners, to help the men understand this is the age of the feminine leading. And it has nothing to do with gender, or who you sleep with. It's just the feminine way is inclusive, spacious, and sensitive, and masculine is thought and logical. So this is what I do in meditations. We let the feminine make the choices, and then I have my masculine asleep. I don't want that ego and that questioning. Once I've decided, I say, now, masculine self, come in and help me make the list. Help me understand how much this will cost. And so that way I balance it within myself, so I'm not just too effusively feminine. So we need to balance it within ourselves, not right off the masculine. We need the masculine for structure, get the job done, but the masculine needs to look to the feminine for the lead, decision making now. That's the way we're building the new paradigm. And so males feel disenfranchised right now. I understand that, but it behooves them to get on board with their job, supporting the feminine.
Yes, with the feminine has the vision for the whole and for the community, right? For the family.
The wholeness. And most men are like, my family, my front door, my perimeter. And we're like, well, everybody, those kids in the playground, what? Someone's abused. I'm there. I'm helping them. It's not so much about I'm protecting all my marbles. It's let's let everybody have marbles. Let's play nice.
Let's play nice. There's enough for everyone.
Yes.
It's
Nice.
it's just so interesting. People are not aware. Um, I I was in a meeting recently, and the gentleman who was one of the ones in charge, his way of questioning always began with the energy of, you're going to try and take advantage of me. I
Yeah.
have to make sure that I, protect my ducks,
Yeah.
and really the protective, but being negative about it, assuming that you're going to try and do that, as opposed to, all right, I know that's a possibility.
Yeah.
That's not where I'm going to come from in my discussion with you, because we're trying to work together,
Yes.
right?
The
So,
masculine does not trust the
mhm.
feminine. They feel that they're going to lose control and be ripped off and not get their money's worth. And that's the underlying a lot of relationship issues, corporate issues. Even now we have more female politicians leading countries than ever before. And guess what? In all standard of living lists, they're doing better. They are doing better.
Yes, I saw that. I saw that.
Led by the feminine. So it's a massive change. And also there's some other things in place. And since this is a spiritual talk here, I'm going to tell you, as part of the divine plan, there are designated humans who are reflecting and holding massive amounts of electromagnetic divine feminine mother energy as never before. I get to meet them. I get to meditate with them, and I'm like, oh my God. And they are doing their job. They are holding the field, and they are meditating, and they are shifting things so that the truth is being revealed. And so people are saying there is a better way, and hey, you can't trick me anymore. So we're creating a new playground, a new parallel reality where people play nice, and the ticket is to drop all that stuff. Some people aren't going to want to, and I bless them in their bubble of reality that will not be meeting us with what we're co-creating. Natural consequences.
Yes, that's the being the bridge that I see many of us doing. We work on this new platform, creating it, building it, making it stronger, and we have to keep dipping into the other dimension where it's more dense. And sometimes that transfer back and forth can be a little rough. It can be a little rough.
It's exhausting
Mm.
to shift our vibrational fields with people, places, and things right now. So as of 2023, my focus is in every moment, I will hold a vibration to the best of my ability of joy. And then I know I am more apt to resonate, experience, and be in the position for more flow of that. So I can only choose for myself. I feel sad for some of the things, people, some places that have to drop away, but time is precious. In our energy fields, our responsibility is to hold a higher vibration. Hey, that's a good title for a clubhouse. Is that what it's going to be? Yeah, I just did the clubhouse. Lighten up your vibration.
Okay, I'm going to definitely follow you over there on Clubhouse. Okay, We could go on like this for hours, Jan. I know we could. I just know we could. But we don't have that today. So I'm going to have you come back, if that's okay with you.
I'd love to anytime.
Wonderful. Okay. So I will put all of your information, your links into the description so people have that and they can come in, and hopefully if they see it quickly enough, they can come and see you in person on your caravan tour. Sounds like it's going to be fun. I actually used to know somebody who has one of those Vardos. I don't know if I can get in touch with them yet, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
Oh, I mean,
they had a couple of them.
wow.
Anyway, okay, so I'm going to ask you my final 2 questions, okay? Okay, first question is, you're standing on the top of a mountain and you're looking around and you're seeing that there are millions of people down at the bottom who are starting to make their way up because they're coming to see you, because you have a message for them, for these millions of people, and you're the only one who can give this message. What is your message?
This too, what I'm doing, you can do and more. That was, of course, a quote from a great teacher. But the tools that I know, unless you ask me, they're not used. I love teaching the vibrational mastery tools so we can recreate this reality together, one at a time. Come in masses. I don't care. Wear what you want. I don't have any attachment to how, when, or what, but I can teach you to be the light and hold it.
Wonderful. We're going to do a retreat together. We have to.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that. Excellent.
Yes. Have them make their matrix and then tone it in.
That's it. That's it. Yep, we'll tone it in. Yeah, sound works in any sort of infrastructure, and it is. I sometimes feel that I'm doing too many things at once, but no, they're all meeting people where they're at in different ways. So, what's the second question?
Okay, the final question. If you could speak to all the leaders in the world, all the leaders, not just country leaders, but all the leaders, everyone is a leader, but you're speaking to the leader within, right? If you could speak to all the leaders in the world and you knew they would listen to you, they would take to heart what you had to say and might even act on it, what would your message be?
I would remind them that they are stewards and caretakers of this planet, and that there is a great initiative, with or without them, coming upon Earth where the new oneness will prevail. If they would like their gifts and their voice to be a part of that, in that playground, we would love that. I think of so many wonderful leaders who just need to feel safe enough that they can be heard, and their people and their geographical, that all of it is going to be the game played differently, not like Monopoly, but a new game that we're going to co-create with benefits, beneficial benevolence for all humans. And it is coming. And so be part of it. Get here, this little caravan, get in the van, get on the platform.
Get on the platform. Get on the platform.
So isolated and more isolated, and North Korea and Russia are a perfect example of more and more densifying and doing things the old way. And it's not where humanity's going. So there's going to be more pain and destruction for those who are not adopting the oneness. Now, there are things coming that will give more opportunities and then visual ahas, that we will not be alone here as a species, as humans. We will have more interaction with other benevolent overseers who have been working with us and through us, the divine beings, and of which many are incarnated here on earth using these bodies to recreate this reality through frequencies and words and new ideation. Hey, that sounded good. Thank you.
Well, for those people who are not quite used to thinking at this level, right? With the concepts, the spiritual concepts that we're talking about, um, they'll just have to listen to it a couple times. But I found, along my journey that when I listen to it a couple times, sometimes you'll get it right away. Other times it could take years before you get a particular concept, but you'll get it just like that.
You feel it in your gut. Just feel, is what Jan's saying true? And it's the frequencies. And I've been told to not hold back, because those who need it in this language will need it today, and others will say whatever they have to say about me. And I no longer am concerned, because everybody has their own path and their awakening. And I'm not saying I'm the only truth. I say the truth as I receive it. And so far, so good. It did take a while to absorb. When I would read my teacher's books, I mean, all I could take was one page. My brain would go, "Roar." But now I use it as a blueprint and other divine beings' blueprints. And I do have my GPS so that when I speak, angel time brings down all of these potential words, and then it is calibrated against the future receivers of this message, which inflections and words and whatever it is, I receive the prompts, and I just speak it as it comes with no effort, no plans. I have no notes. So this is what I teach: be present with divine guidance. And thank you for the platform where I don't have to hold back and I can speak freely to spark people's imagination.
We do the same thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, we do the same thing because it's for me, it's a trusting that I'm here to be a channel of whatever that information is that needs to come through, and a trust that whoever needs to hear it will hear it when they need to hear it, when they're ready to hear it. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I have 350 YouTubes. All right, my YouTube channel is Jan Jorgensen, Be the Light and Soar. Soar means sounding our authentic resonance, and I've done a lot of events, soar events. So you can go on there, and they sit there. And sometimes people will tell me one that I did 5 years ago on a particular topic, Spirit just directed that because they needed the frequencies at that level at that time 5 years ago when I was delivering it. So they sit there on shelves as record frequency books available.
Yes. And that's the beauty of this digital world. That is the gift of the digital world now, because thinking back to, remember Star Trek and how the information came out of his little, the thing in his hand.
Remember the beam me up, the departicularized. One time I was meditating with a very high vibration friend who says, "Jen, you just went into sparkles." And I'm like, well, Star Trek showed us, we could do that. So I didn't freak out too much. I got so excited I interrupted you. Sorry.
Oh, no. That's I was done. Okay. So we have to have you back. This is just way too fun. Maybe what we'll do is when your tour is done and you're back home and settled in and you're doing what did you learn on the caravan? What's the new information that you were able to pick up moving through California coast? Yes.
I would love that, because I am going to meet with some very high frequency, powerful people.
Well, we have that to look forward to. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you have any last thoughts that you wanted to share?
Just for people, even though things appear to be in disastrous state, we really are at the precipice. We just can't quite see it yet, and we have to believe it to create it. So if you are listening to this, you are part of the team and have hope. I trust the future. I totally trust. I love the future, and I get to be part of it. I mean, how wonderful is that?
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing everything unfold. I just think about it like the butterfly wings are starting, you know?
Yes, yes. It's
Mhm.
a big celebratory gift. I painted it a bit too of just the celebration we're going to have. And that we're going to nudge the men and we're going to say, now do you believe it now that you see it? For the masculine, prove it, it's all happening. So thank you for this wonderful connection here to help me remember my role even better as I articulate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing your message and all of your knowledge and for bringing voice release into the world and deepening in it and expanding it because I'm sure it's growing. It's growing. I can feel it getting, what is the word? It's quickening. It's quickening.
Yes,
So,
it is.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. So,
God
thank you. I'm
bless.
so blessed to have you.
So bless.
Thank you, everyone, for listening in. This has been Baylan Megino, founder of Global Dream Makers, with Jan Jorgensen of SOAR. Go check her out on her website and YouTube and Clubhouse. And I'll have all of those links for you in the description. So subscribe to the channel and you'll get notified for it when she comes back next time and for all of our other speakers. Thank you so much. And that's it for today. We will see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Let me see now. How do I stop the live? Hold on a second. Um,
I was going to say, I'll meet you there in that field of possibility. I think that's rooming, right? I'll meet you there.
I'll meet you there. Okay. It says